back to the Power Hour, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. Bankrate.com. That's one place you can find out what your bank is doing. Bankrate.com. I just tried to go there and look at Citizen State Bank of Baltimore, and it says there is no bank by that name now. So I don't know what the deal is. Maybe they've taken them offline for a while. But anyway, we're talking with our guest, we're talking with Bob Chapman, who is our guest with the International Forecaster, and Ralph from Michigan. Ralph, just real quickly, what happened when the FDIC came in and took over that bank? Did you get your money refunded? Did they contact you? What has happened?
No, there was nobody who contacted anybody. Like I said, I heard it on the news, and I told my mom because she had a large amount of money in there, and I said, we're going up Saturday morning to check out what's going on and see if you can get your money out. We were up there first thing Saturday morning before it opened, and they already had a line there. We went in, and they made an announcement saying we are only allowing $500 to be taken out today, and nobody is allowed to close their account.
Really?
And it was what was interesting is they had Huntington Bank representatives all through that bank trying to get people to go over and sign up with Huntington right there in that bank. And they had FDIC people all over the place, too, trying to answer questions and that, trying to reassure people. Well, I've been telling most of these people that I saw there for a long time what's coming down, and they all thought I was nuts, and they avoided me like the plague every time I went into town.
Well, let me ask you, so you got your $240. Did your mom get $500?
No, she didn't get her $500 because what I did is I found out some information that I was able to use for her where we took and immediately after I caused some trouble in there with the FDIC people by asking them questions out loud that I've learned over the years, you know, like how is it the FDIC is insuring these people when they just went broke, what was it, a month ago and had to borrow more money? And naturally they wanted to shut me up and get me out of there.
I bet they did. So
they were shooing me out, and I'm saying, wait a minute, I didn't get my free bagel you're giving away with our money that you bought over there.
So, okay, thank you, Ralph. Thank you so much for calling in today. I wanted to hear what's going on with these banks. You didn't see that on television. You didn't see these lines around the block on television. Bob Chapman, this is scary stuff, isn't it? Now we've had somebody call in who's actually had it happen to them, and now we're learning $500. Now that's, if you've got $250,000 in there that's supposed to be insured by FDIC, $500 doesn't help you out very much, does it?
You're up the creek without a paddle. And I've been talking on the air and telling the subscribers no more than 3 months operating expenses in the bank. If you're a company, no more than 6 months. If you've got extra cash that you don't want in gold and silver-related assets, then put it in the sovereign treasuries, AAA rated, of Canada or Switzerland or even Australia or Norway, which are the strongest currencies in the world today. And that's the place to put it. After, of course, you've got all your basics in, and we've discussed that before. And so this is the denial that I've been talking about and I've been writing about and getting, guff from the newsletter writers because they're in denial. They don't want to believe that the U.S. is going to devalue their currency, that the FDIC is no longer going to be able to insure accounts. A year from now, a year and a half from now, it is going to happen. And you know how I know that? First of all, I knew it was coming. But second of all, I do have somebody in high circles in banking who goes to the Fed meetings who tells me everything that goes on.
Oh, wow. No wonder you got an 85%.
And so, I don't make this stuff up.
Okay, we got a bunch of people that want to talk to you. We'll be right back after this 1 minute, 10-second break. Stay tuned. Now you know, ladies and gentlemen, he's got people in high places that give him the information. Stay tuned. Back in 1 minute, 10 seconds. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for caring about your world. Thank you for caring about your assets, if you have any. And don't be like Ralph in Michigan and leave them in there because you're going to be in a world of hurt. Let's go to Jim in Texas. Jim, you're on the air with Bob Chapman. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Joyce.
Morning.
I wanted to ask Bob if he had any leanings towards when he thinks this pulling of the dollar will take place this next year, and what he thinks the consequences of that will be, whether that will be civil unrest or a breaking up of our country or a plunge into total despotism.
Okay, let's get to that question. We've got a lot of callers. Thank you very much, Jim. That's a good question. Bob Chapman, your response.
I don't think it'll lead to civil unrest. I think perhaps things that'll come in the aftermath. But the event itself, people will be surprised to say it can't happen here. It really isn't. And they'll get over it really very quickly. And then they'll start thinking, well, I heard this stuff on the Power Hour, and now I know it's true, so I better start listening. And, of course, unemployment's going to go up. The cost of goods purchased will go up because most of our stuff is made in other countries. And even if they bring their country currencies down in value in competitive devaluations, the things that we buy, say, from China, that cost $1 could cost $1.50 or $2. And so that's very inflationary. And I think what's going to happen is that there'll be more unemployment, and that'll be followed by people who become disgruntled. There'll be demonstrations. How far they go remain to be seen. It all depends on how the powers behind government handle it. If they make a mistake like they made in Copenhagen, they're liable to have all kinds of nasty things happen in the country.
Oh, I think you're right about that. Hey, thank you very much, Jim, for the phone call. But when do you think this devaluation is going to take place?
A year to a year and a half from now.
Okay. Raphael in Virginia.
The Fed seems to think it's going to be a year. I think it's going to take a little longer than that. But, they're in a better position to know than I am. They're running the bogus program. I'm not.
Raphael in Virginia, you're on the air. Go ahead, please, with Bob Chapman.
Joyce and Bob, good day. I hope you have answered this question here. I remember when they had this whole global warming thing discussion going on, they spoke about an excess amount of carbon monoxide in the air, and now they're talking about CO2. I mean, is this like, the sequel to CO, like the return of CO, the sequel, or, whatever happened to the argument, It's still...
I don't understand the question myself.
Well,
Bob, do you understand it?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Raphael.
Okay. When I remember when it was like they spoke about the carbon monoxide levels were too high and dangerous, causing global warming. But now you don't hear anything about carbon monoxide, at all. I mean, was I wrong to hear? Had I been hearing wrong that they had initially started this whole this global warming thing based on carbon monoxide levels?
Well, you're right. They don't talk about that anymore. They talk about carbon dioxide. And so there was a complete shift, and it's not global warming, it's climate control. And now we got ClimateGate to go along with it. But it just shows you how bogus the whole thing was.
Yes. Hey, thank you very much, Raphael. Thank you. Let me go to Dave in Ohio. Dave, you're our final caller. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. My question's about the world reserve currency. When that torch was passed from the pound to the dollar, it seems like that racket was an awful lot of interest-paying, unaccountable money that went to this World Bank organization or world government that they had to do to purchase whatever in the world they wanted to create with it.
That money was allocated by different nations. The U.S. government, which probably printed it up out of thin air, gave about 43% of the total, and the same was true with the IMF funding, about the same percentage.
Bob Chapman, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us in the Power Hour today. Really appreciate your joining us, and man, what an insight. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, bye.
Have a blessed day. We'll see you later.